Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Old Ladies Lift Chat. I am one of your hosts, Larnie Mulvey, the Power Lady.
And I'm Chandler Mars, founder and creator of Old Ladies Lift, the premier website, Facebook group, and YouTube channel for older women who lift heavy.
So we have another amazing member from the Facebook group, and I'm going to have her. I'm getting tongue-tied already. I'm going to have her introduce herself and let us know a little bit more about herself and what's going on with her.
Hi, my name is Roddie Markel. I'm so excited to be here. I just love your guys' page and I love what you do and the representation for us older athletes that you guys just put out there, and it's just wonderful. I am a mom of 7 grown children.
Oh, goodness.
I have 16 grandchildren. I own my own nutrition coaching business, and I am a CrossFitter.
Yay.
So not quite as heavy as you guys, but hey, you know, I've been doing CrossFit for about 4 years.
I'll tell you, Roddie, though, I tried CrossFit and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do it. So it's like a trade-off of heavy lifting versus like good cardio.
Really?
I couldn't do it.
It is, it's true.
It's really tough. That's where I started. That's how I got into powerlifting, was through CrossFit. And I didn't know anything about lifting. It never occurred to me that one can lift heavy weights as an older woman until I did CrossFit, and they're like, hey, lift this. I'm like, okay. And, you know, I'm sure you've experienced the same, where you're challenging yourself to do things that you never thought possible.
Yes, it has definitely been life-changing for me in more ways than one. My youngest daughter actually had her first powerlifting meet this weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she's a CrossFitter as well. All my daughters are CrossFitters. And that's how I kind of got into it. But she did her first powerlifting. Her name's Roddie as well.
Oh.
And she did really, really well. She loves it. I was telling her, I had this interview today. She was super excited because after that meet, she's like, okay, I can be good at this. So I think she's going to kind of do both the CrossFit and the powerlifting thing. So I'm super excited for her to see where that goes.
Oh, good for her. So how did you stumble onto CrossFit?
Well, my daughters were all CrossFitters. My oldest daughter and her husband actually own their own CrossFit gym in Virginia. And of course, when she first started years ago, we were all poo-pooing her like it was, you know, a cult kind of thing. And then, you know, I've always been an athlete. I've been an athlete since I was 12 years old. I was a long distance runner. I ran marathons. I was a triathlete, and I've always been in the gym. I've always been kind of a gym rat, but I went through a really tough divorce a few years back and kind of lost myself a little bit, put on a bunch of weight. Wasn't real happy with where I was going and what I was doing. And we ended up having a local boot camp at our CrossFit gym that one of my other daughters was a member of. And she said, you're going to this boot camp. And she pretty much held my hand as I was terrified walking through the doors. And I just started there. I started small. At the time, I had some injuries I had to overcome, but I had a great coach who was amazing and patient. And I'll never forget the one line he told me that sticks with me to this day. And how I talk with my clients is, you know, for every one exercise you can't do, I'll give you 10 that you can. So get in here.
Oh, that's
you can
wonderful.
do this. Yeah. And so that's kind of how it started. And so, yeah, 4.5 years later, here I am. I'm going to try to get my level 1 here this spring and start coaching some masters athletes is what I'd really like to do.
Oh, that sounds good. Have you competed in any CrossFit competitions?
You know, I do the Open every year. I do the CrossFit
everybody
Open.
does.
Yes, every year. And I was actually going to start competing when COVID hit.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. And then after we kind of got through that, I signed up for a competition, and at the last minute, it was canceled.
Oh, gosh.
And so I hope to compete a little bit more this year. Yes.
Okay. Well, the Open is coming up too, as well.
February 24th.
Yeah. Yeah. So my daughter does CrossFit as well. And except it was my husband and I who started it first. My daughter and son were still in college at the time. And I have twins. And when they came home from college, we pulled them into CrossFit, and they went their separate ways. My daughter continues to do CrossFit. My husband continued to do CrossFit, and my son does the powerlifting with me. So it's been, but we all will work out together, you know, when everybody's home, and that's wonderful.
Oh, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roddie, what do your kids think of you competing in the open and things like that? Like, what do they say to you? They think you're the cool mom, the cool grandma?
Yeah, they are really excited for me. I have two daughters here that will actually do the open as well. And they just love it. In fact, they give me no slack whatsoever. If I complain about anything, they're relentless, in a loving way. They love it. My girls really love it. And it's great. It's a great thing for us to be able to do together. Of course, I'm a little slower and a little older and can't move as much weight,
Yeah.
but that's okay. You know, that's okay with me. And you know, the reason I stick with it, I think, and you guys can probably really relate to this, is my kids and my grandkids are my why for everything. And if I can't keep crashing into life and enjoying them and playing with them and throwing them in the air and hiking and all of those things that I want to do with them, you know, that's just my why for everything.
That's wonderful. And I think that is for so many of us. That and health, being able to be healthy is and to be strong. I don't, as I was an athlete like you for my entire life, swam, played water polo, etc. But it never occurred to me until I started CrossFit and then subsequently powerlifting to lift heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so back in the 80s and 90s, when I lifted weights relative to swimming or water polo, it was always, for women particularly, even female athletes, it was always high reps, low weight, because you didn't want to get bulky and you didn't want to, you know, build muscle. That was the philosophy back then. And it literally never occurred to me to pick up a heavy weight just to see if I could lift it, until going to CrossFit. And it was expected that you pick things up. I mean, you certainly start at the bottom and you work your way up, but it was expected that you would continue to progress. And it didn't matter how old you were, you would continue to progress. And I found that so absolutely refreshing and empowering and all of that. And I think that's changed my perspective on all manner of things relative to women's health and fitness.
Yeah, well, back when I was younger, going to the gym was more about, like you said, high reps, a lot of cardio, staying skinny, not getting too bulky, but having, you know, a fair amount of strength. And now, as I've gotten older, it's more of it's therapy. It's being able to get up out of a chair comfortably. It's being able to get up and down off the ground. It's more about health and being able to stay as strong as I possibly can for as long as I can. The whole motivation has changed.
It's changed, yeah. And I find that I'm not particularly good doing it as I've gotten older, just for weight loss. That's not a very good goal for me. I have, you know, it was easier, I suppose, when I was younger, because weight loss was always easier when you're younger. But I find that the goal that keeps me coming back is well, it is therapeutic and is the capacity to continue to improve and to have goals and that. And I think that's something, again, as a younger woman, I didn't think I'd have as an older woman.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
So Roddie, you said you were going through some injuries and everything. Like, how does CrossFit and the strength aspect, you know, how does that get you out of, you know, keep moving, let's keep going, you know, with all the CrossFit demand of your body? like, you just said that your coach was telling you that if you can't do one, there's other, there's other exercises. Like, how do you get into your mindset of, oh my God, like for me, sometimes I'm just like, I tell the kids that are in my gym, I'm like, you guys, I'm the oldest person in my gym.
And you're young.
Yeah, and I'm young. Thank you, Chandler.
You're welcome.
But I'm the oldest one in my gym, and like that getting up, from trying to do something on the ground, and like I haven't had many injuries. So like, how do you keep going?
That's a really good question. I just had a lot of encouragement from the CrossFit community that I was a part of. Was amazing. My coach, of course, was amazing. My kids were just like, Mom, if you have frozen shoulders now and you've got 20% mobility and you don't do something about it, can you be like when you're, 65? Just do what you can. And so I had frozen, both my shoulders were frozen. I had 20% mobility in one and about 80 in the other. So when I started CrossFit, I couldn't even pick my arms up over my head.
Oh, wow.
Like I couldn't take my shirt off without help. I couldn't do a jumping jack. And I just kept thinking to myself, is this what my life is going to be for the rest of my life? I'm just not okay with this. And then I started seeing improvement over time, and that was encouragement enough. Okay, this is working. I got to keep doing it.
So how many days do you train?
I train 4 to 5 days a week.
Okay. And is it all CrossFit, or do you do like CrossFit a couple days and or some other activities on?
Well, I do primarily CrossFit, but like tonight, after I get done here, I'm going to go to a gymnastics class that my gym puts on.
Wow.
Because I have a gymnastics.
You're
I
just want, are you watching or are you doing?
Well, we'll see. It depends. But it's more about.
I didn't mean to be shocked, Roddie. I was just like, I needed the clarity.
Shocked you. No, it's more like how to do movements on the, like, for example, it's really important to me this year. One of my goals is to be able to do a handstand up against the wall. Okay. I'm terrified to go upside down. I really like my neck.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But I want to do at least one. I want to kick up into a handstand. And so this gymnastics class is movements like that, where they build you up. Like, okay, we're going to start with this exercise, and we're going to progress to this one, and then this one, and then this one, so that you can eventually get to a handstand or things like that. So it's more like progression instead of just walking into the gym and just
attempting to do it.
Yeah, it's more like helping you get there.
Well, and isn't it funny how we become so fearful of it when we get older? Because I remember as a child in grade school, we'd go out against a wall and do handstand contests, and that was the thing. And we just pop up and we stay there forever. And now it's like, you want me to do what?
I'm afraid to get down on the ground sometimes. And I'm just like, oh gosh, I have to do the whole rocking sometimes. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, okay.
I position myself where I have something I can hold on to.
Well, exactly. And I roll over and get up, and most of my burpees are, when you do burpees, everybody's kind of in this nice tight thing. I've got this wide plank so that I can kind of shorten the distance between X and Y.
Exactly. And I do a lot of hiking. My boys, it's so funny. I have 4 girls and 3 boys. My girls all CrossFit, and my boys, well, they don't. They fish and hunt. And then I have my oldest son likes to hike. And so we do a lot of hiking too around that. Good. Yeah. And we love that. That's something we do together. So, but mainly, CrossFit. I can't run anymore.
What?
I can't run much anymore.
Yeah.
I've never been able to.
Oh, I did actually, but I weigh so much right now. It's like thump, thump, thump. I don't like running either as much, but I did for years. That was something I did. I ran miles and miles a day for years in the hopes that I would somehow be skinny. And certainly I was skinnier then than I am now. But it's too much, I think, as you get older on your body. I find it
Yeah.
too much. Little runs here and there are not that big a deal, but
My runs are 40 feet with pushing the sled.
see, I love pushing the sled. That is one of
You
my
too.
favorite things. Because it takes no skill and no real brain capacity. You just push. It's one of those where you can get a really good workout without having to think about form,
Exactly. And my husband just bought me a Concept 2 rower, and I love to row, and I'm finding that reminds me a lot of running in terms of it's mindless. You can get into a rhythm and get into a zone, and it reminds me of that same feeling that I used to get when I was a runner. Just sort of zone out and just go. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I enjoy it too. And as a swimmer, that was the same thing. You get into a rhythm and you go. And I haven't gotten into those rhythms lately. Because I don't think I have a bike and such, and I don't run anymore though, but I just don't go as hard as I used to, or as long as I used to. What has been the biggest challenge you've had with the CrossFit?
Frankly, my age.
Really?
Yeah, frankly, because, well, I should disclaimer, age and my, what's the word I'm looking for? My, the realization that I'm older. I still think I can perform like a 30-year-old, and I can't. And it frustrates me. And so I've had to learn to be the last one in the room to finish, the oldest one in the room that's there to begin with. And I just have to be okay with that. And that has been a real learning curve for me and a real challenge. So yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I was fortunate when we did CrossFit, we had a relatively older gym. We had a lot of youngsters, mind you, but we had a lot of folks in my age group and older. And so there was that camaraderie in that respect. And so we were all the last ones. There was the youngins, and then there was the rest of us.
Right.
And so, but I can see how if you are the absolute oldest and there are how difficult it is. And so it would be wonderful to have more CrossFit gyms for older individuals.
Yeah, it's I'm lovingly referred to as Mama Roddie.
I like that.
I like it too, but
how do you feel about that, Roddie?
It's kind of like Maserati. I mean, it's a classic car.
Yeah, I like it actually. I love the people that I work out with. It's kind of an honor to be thought of that way. So
yeah, that's great.
How many people are in your age group at your gym?
Well, that's hard to tell because I don't see everyone. Probably a handful. Probably a handful is about it. Yeah, probably just about a handful. There is a pretty good age folks in the like 40, 50-ish, but then from about 50 up, it gets a little slimmer. It
drops. Yeah. So one of the things we did at our gym as well is we because I needed to get my mom to work out, and she was in her 70s. I had convinced them to start a seniors class, and the pandemic kind of screwed everything up, but it's moved off into the coach who coached it has a home gym, so they've moved that class, but they've been going fairly strong now for 2 or 3 years, and they're all over 70. And there's an 82-year-old, maybe she's probably 84 at this point, I think is the oldest. But I think that there ought to be more of those types of classes, not just through CrossFit, but through powerlifting and everything else, because there's a whole population of people that would love it and benefit from it.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I want to get my level 1 this spring, and I want to teach a master's class. Now, master's in CrossFit is anything 35 and up,
I know.
but I would
Still.
like really, but you know, that's so, but I would love to get into teaching like 50 and up,
Yeah.
especially women.
Especially women, and really before the pandemic, that's what I was interested in doing through powerlifting, but coaching a women's group. But the pandemic hit, and et cetera, et cetera. Life happens, but I think that there's a real market for that. So anybody out there listening, if you want to have a successful gym, you should tap into all of us older women who would love to be doing it.
Yes.
And I think a lot, I don't know, I can't speak for anybody else. I know for me, part of it was getting over the fact that, hey, I'm in my 50s. Am I over the hill? Is it too late for me? Should I be not working quite so hard because my body is getting older, and having a lot of questions like that, because when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're invincible. You just do it. And when you get older, you're like, oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts. Oh gosh, it's hard, and you start, at least I did. I started questioning, well, maybe I shouldn't be lifting weights. Maybe I shouldn't be working so hard. But I just kept getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And I just wasn't okay with that. And it doesn't have to be that way.
I agree. It doesn't have to be. And women, older women, can lift more than the 2.5 pound pink dumbbells that they show on every ad for menopausal women and lifting. So
they need to have you out there, Larnie, packing that thing you wear, that
yoke
thing you put over your head. Holy cow.
That's fun. Have you tried that yet?
I have not, because we don't have one of those at our gym.
You do not?
No.
Oh, those are fun. We didn't have one at our gym either until a group of us got together and bought one because we wanted to play. So the other good thing about our gym was we would just buy toys that we wanted and give it to the gym. And that was one of the toys that we wanted. And so we bought it and we got to play with it. And that's hard.
It looks like
when
it.
you see Larnie doing that, the balance issue of that and moving, and it's hard on your upper back and your neck. It's fun, but it's hard.
It does. It looks like it takes a lot of skill.
Yeah. So that yoke is actually, my coach is a iron worker, and he welded that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like a lot of the equipment, everyone's like, oh, what's that? I was like, it's specially made by my coach. I don't know what it is. So, so that thing is 330 pounds.
The yoke is 300. They're normally like 190.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Pounds.
And you were running or walking with
walking
that?
As fast as I could.
With 330 pounds on you.
Yeah.
Wow. I am even more impressed than I was before.
Yeah. I saw that video.
It's like 190, 200 pounds. I can't remember.
Yeah. He's like, that's about 330-ish, give or take. And I'm like,
heavier.
I'm like, remember. You didn't tell me that.
Probably best that you didn't know.
Wow, that's insane. Wait.
So Roddie, okay, you were gonna do the open. When is that? When is the open?
The open is basically anybody can do it who does CrossFit, and it's an online competition. It starts February 24th. It's 3 workouts. It used to be 6. Every week a new workout is released. Now it's only 3.
That's surprising. I didn't know they reduced it.
Yeah.
Was that at the pandemic they reduced it, or?
I think it was right before, but I don't hold me to that.
Okay.
Because when I did it, I think it was right before the pandemic. If not, it was right around that time.
Okay.
And a workout is released once a week, and then you have through the weekend to do the workout. You can do it once, or you can do it multiple times if you want to improve your score. And then you put it into an online leaderboard, and it ranks you across the United States and globally amongst your peers.
That was one of the brilliant things about CrossFit, was doing the online open, so that everybody could participate and rank themselves. I mean, there were glitches, mind you, and there's always issues, but that I think was brilliant. And I used to have a lot of fun doing that. The workouts were insane though.
They really are, and I get really, really nervous for them. I'm sure like everybody does.
Yeah.
but it's nice to know how you do amongst your peers. And if you have your gym community is a big part of it, it's a lot of fun. Every week it's like a mini competition. And yeah, it's really, I like it. I like it a lot. And the cool thing is, this is my competitive side jumping out. I'm at the end of my age group right now. So when I turn 60 next year, I'm going to be the youngest in my age division.
Well, and you're finally old enough to get what my husband lovingly calls the art discount relative to the workouts, because they don't consider you older. They don't scale the RX workouts for age until you hit 55.
Yeah.
And so you've had that opportunity to so the workouts, Larry, if you don't do CrossFit, they have RX and scaled, RX being the main workout and scaled is a little bit easier. And they have the RX workout. This goes the same workout from age 18 to 55. And you don't get the age related scale until you're over 55. Now you can scale everything, but you're ranked differently if you scale it, do the scaled workout than the so-called RX workout. And I always thought it was kind of, I don't know, it was like, there's a big difference between a 50-year-old and a 35-year-old.
Right.
And they ought to, think about the scaling of the RX workout in the older age groups a little bit more closely. But yeah, so you get those now, which is wonderful. I stopped doing CrossFit before I got old enough to.
Well, and the other cool thing too now is that you can go based on the open workout. So workout number 1 comes out and it's everything you can do RX. You could pick that workout to do RX. Then maybe the next week you're like, oh man, this is a real drag. I can't do half the movements. You can scale it. You don't have to stay in the same.
No, and that was the case when I was doing it. And so I would pick and choose what I could do. But I felt like, I don't know. I just felt like I would never be as good as a 30-year-old. And there were just movements that didn't make sense for a 50-year-old or a 40. I was at the time 47, 48 when I was doing it. Like handstand push-ups. I just so
I can't do push-ups either to save my
well
life.
Handstand push-ups. You're on your head, you're doing a handstand upside down.
I like my neck.
I always kept seeing neck injuries, and it was just like, this is just not right.
Oh my God.
Same thing with like rope climbs, Do I really want to do a rope climb?
No, I have no
come
interest
down
whatsoever in going up that high.
What's the point? Well, and box step, box jumps, I've given up on them. I do step ups because I fell doing a box jump and fractured my hand and was out for 6 weeks. I'm like, why do I need to do a box jump other than I'm just stubborn?
Yeah, exactly. And then so that, I agree. There are things that, and I would do step ups too. I only did one RX workout with box jumps. So I was like, but I was like you, I don't know. I felt completely incompetent when it came to jumping. That was one of the things I think I lost as getting older. When we first started CrossFit and they told me to jump, I was like, okay, legs, jump. And they didn't want to jump. Like I could not, there was no signal from top to bottom that would initiate a jump. Now I could do a little jump rope. That's just like a little bit off the ground, but to jump up onto something, it was like, it's just not good. It took me forever to figure out how to jump.
Oh yeah. I had to start out with one plate.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about running.
Yeah.
I can walk, like I walk my dogs in the morning. Sometimes they see a squirrel and I'm just like, oh no. And my one dog's not that big, but he can pull, a dog pulling at full speed. And then I try to do those little baby steps and my husband laughs at me and how I run. Because I feel like in my mind, I'm doing like a good stride and really I'm like,
it's like in your mind, you think you're a thoroughbred.
I feel like I'm squatting deep and No, I'm like 5 inches above parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah, our sense of perception, I think, changes a little bit as we get older too.
I think we still see ourselves as 25, 35 years old. I know I think I'm a thoroughbred when I'm running. I'm pretty sure I look like one. Not so much.
Absolutely.
So Roddie, as we're wrapping up our conversation, our amazing conversation, what can you give some of the older ladies who are going to watch this episode of you, give some advice on CrossFit, on mental, like getting your mental game, on cue when we have to do a jump or something like that. Do you have any advice for anyone? I mean, just doing CrossFit or any of the other events that all these ladies do?
I think it's just really important, if I were to give advice to anybody, regardless of where they're at in their journey, whether they've been sitting on the couch for a long time, or maybe they just walk a couple of times a day, or maybe they're an avid hiker, is to just keep moving, and that you can do something, and you don't have to accept just sitting in a rocking chair and sipping lemonade or stiff drink and living out the rest of your life, that you can do things. And we've worked hard our whole lives. We've raised our families. It doesn't end. In fact, I kind of like to think that my life is just beginning, because I get to be me. I get to figure out who that is and how strong I can be, and leave my kids a legacy and set an example for them and my grandkids, and play with them, so that one day when I'm not here anymore, I will hopefully have left them stronger because of what I did and what I wasn't willing to accept. Now, of course, we all have limitations. We all know that, but you can still do something. To just do something. Just do something.
That's
Start
very
small.
good advice.
Yes.
And I think the other component of that is it's fun.
Yeah.
It's not work. It's fun. Once you get past the initial fear and the initial completely out of shape and reconditioning, it's fun. And it's more fun than sitting on the couch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
It's just do something.
And enjoy it.
And enjoy it.
enjoy it.
Exactly. Exactly.
You get to, you don't have to. You
Yeah.
get to.
That's
Yeah.
what my coach tells me. Oh, you get to do your 480 today or whatever. And I'm just like, but I have to do it. No, you get to.
It's such a different perspective, isn't it?
It really is.
Yes.
And I just
Yeah.
give him this look like, okay, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'll get it. Just give me 90 seconds. I just need to catch my breath and I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, and imagine the alternative. I mean, think of all of the people who really can't do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
They can do something, but they can't do what we do for whatever reason. And we need to be really grateful for the fact that we can still move our bodies pretty much the way we want to, within limitation. There's a lot of people that would kill to be able to do that, would really,
Yeah.
That's a
So.
great perspective. I love that. I love that, Roddie. Thank you.
You're
So as
welcome.
we're wrapping up, Roddie, thank you so much. And I'm
Thank
glad
you.
you said your last name, because I totally would have butchered it. I would have not said it that way. I would have been like Markel. And it's
That happens a lot.
oh my gosh. So thank you so much for being a guest on Old Ladies Lift Chat. We appreciate it. And
Thank you.
Chandler, do you have any closing words?
Oh, I just think it's been wonderful to chat with you, and I think you are our first CrossFitter on the channel, so a groundbreaking interview. But hopefully it'll inspire other women to consider lifting, whether it be powerlifting, weightlifting, CrossFit, or some other form of lifting. I think we're just showing all the different perspectives, and that women can be strong and enjoy themselves and live healthy. So thank you for helping us do that.
Breaking those stereotypes and being
Exactly.
strong, powerful women.
Yes, women are powerful. I think we just need to recognize that in ourselves and in others.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. So on that note, this is your episode of Old Ladies Lift. If it's not the internet, it's my tongue. My goodness.
Yes. Or mine.
This is your episode of Old Ladies Lift Chat. I am your host, Roddie Mulvey, the Power Lady, and I have Chandler Mars with me. And make sure you guys check out the Old Ladies Lift .com store. Check out any new gear. Check out the bios, the amazing bios that are on there. You know, Roddie, submit yours. Did you submit yours? Your
She
bio?
has one.
Mine's
I
on
think
there.
She has one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need to update it? Okay.
I can go look at it. I might.
Yeah. Because we
So
keep
make sure-
improving. They're not static.
Yes.
True.
We keep
So,
improving.
If you want
So
to,
yeah, everybody check out the site, check out our YouTube channel, not just for the other Old Ladies Lift chats, but for all the lifting videos. I mean, prepare yourselves to be impressed by some of the badass women we have lifting some freaking heavy weights. So check all of that out and join our Facebook group if you are a woman and over 40. If not, sorry, Charlie. But check it all out.
all right. Well, that is our episode today. I am so glad to have met you, Roddie. Charlie. See, you said Charlie, and I'm calling you Charlie, Chandler.
Hello.
Chandler, this is another great episode. I love our chats because not only do we encourage and support one another, we are representing this age group that, you know,
Has
that
for
has
too long been ignored.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, this is our episode of Old Ladies Lift Chat. We will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.